Hi, and welcome back to Studio Tamera, the Mystical Paintress. Today, we are going to be painting these beautiful Angelica herbs behind me. They look like fireworks. They're gorgeous. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the lesson for today is we are going to be placing bold strokes, trying to use the economy using the least amount of brush strokes and not doing a lot of blending. I'm using an Aspen Filbert size 4. And I'm going to block it in. I have the fountain behind me. It's a little noisy. So as you can see, this Angelica out here, it's just beautiful. And so I'm going to capture some of the personality, and I'm going to do a little bit of negative painting the background. So I'm using a little sap green and a little purple, make kind of a darker green here. All right. And then I'm just going to kind of squint, and I want to just kind of suggest in here real lightly. So I'm going to squint, and I'm going to just put in what is behind the flowers. I'm going to even use a little black. I know that's a big no-no, but I want to get a little darkness in the background. I really want the feeling of depth here. So isn't this fun? This is so much fun. This is like meditating for me. So we're going to have the top flowers here. Some of them are going to go right off. Economy of stroke means fewer is better, right? Right now I'm just using sap green, a little black. And I'm just trying to get in some of these massive flowers. You know, people candy the stalk of an Angelica. So I'm not talking a lot because I'm trying to concentrate on getting in some of these massive, beautiful stalks here. And negative painting meaning I'm doing the background behind them a little here. There's really no right or wrong way to hold a brush. If you hold it like this, if you hold it like this, However you're comfortable is right. So. This is very outside the box fun, few brush strokes, trying to get in the pattern of these big, giant, gorgeous stalks. And they just shoot up. That's my fountain behind us. Pretty loud. But they just shoot up like this. And we want to suggest that movement. Okay. So see how we are now suggesting these big, beautiful shoots all across here. Still just really using the sap green. You don't want to make them all the same width. So we need to Okay, so we're starting to get it here. I think a little is just a suggestion of and we may get rained out, by the way. I'm going to paint a little faster. Okay. Now the Angelica itself, if you look, it's quite light and beautiful back here. And it's very tall. See how tall this is? Hi. And the stems are hollow. I'm back. Jeez. Here we go. Well, between the mosquitoes and everything else, see if we can actually get something painted here. Another thing, a lot of people don't put enough paint on your brush. You gotta have paint. That's why it's called painting, just saying. Okay. Now I'm gonna negative paint a couple of these flowers. I'm gonna come in. Trying not to blend and rub all this in. We definitely want to have this flower going off the top. The background here got a little lighter yellow. Kind of just like off in the far away there. I'm going to suggest it. We're going to try and do this very quickly. This is called plein air painting, French for outdoor, right? Okay, I think certainly now we have a pretty good breakdown. Let me bring you in close. So you can see our stalks and our stalks here, and then these beautiful, beautiful tufts, flowers. It's just, Angelica's beautiful and gorgeous. And this is so fun. So we are going to work some more. This is my fountain hitting the boat, giving us this lovely background annoyance. Now we are going to mix a little white in with our sap green here, because the tops on these flowers are little wispy guys. We're just going to kind of suggest them. Trying to use the minimum amount of strokes and not blend a lot. Wanting to paint this Angelica for a long, long time. I'm going to use a different brush. Using an 8 Aspen flat top. And the stems have like an alizarin crimson color, but it's also gray. So I'm going to mix Portland gray and alizarin crimson and see what we get. If it's too gray, we'll add more crimson. Too crimson, we'll add more gray. Yeah. Can you see that? Let's bring you in. Asked about my book. It's called Plein Air Painting, Tips and Tales. And it is a step-by-step book on plein air painting that has step-by-step pictures on how to do all different kinds of landscape paintings, stories. It's a lot of fun. It's available on Amazon. So we've got this alizarin in Portland gray, and we're going for this stem color. You notice I'm not filling in the entire thing. I'm just suggesting here and there. I really want to have, in places where there's highlights too. So alizarin and Portland gray. Could use any gray, actually. You can mix orange and blue, make your own gray. I just happen to have that gray here. And then you might want to take a few spots and make it a little more red, or even add a little brown just to darken the red. Like add a little bit of this burnt umber, and that'll darken your alizarin some. Just for some spots, it's a little darker. Ooh, might be too dark. And there might even be a little purple in there too. So, you know, there are no mistakes. It's the journey of art. It's the process. As soon as you stop being afraid and let go of the idea that you're making a mistake, you realize you're an artist and you're doing art. It becomes a lot less stressful, a lot more fun. You guys are here to have fun. There's my helper. Hi, Ra. Hi, Ra. What'd you do it? So right now I'm just kind of looking at the plant and adjusting a few things. What a beautiful plant. I feel like you're in a fairy tale. It's wonderful. Okay, if you observe the Angelica, up at the top, these little shoots that were red, they become green. I don't know why, if you observe them. So I've mixed a little green with some cad yellow light and white. And I'm just kind of suggesting a few here and there, just to make it look real. You don't want to overwork it. I notice where the stems come up here, there's a little like thing. Put that in. Whatever you see, be an observer of nature. And if you see it, put it in there and have fun. Observe, put it in there, have fun. Yes. I love having this easel because I can keep my paint and brushes all handy. If I need a color, like I'm running out of green, I may need a little more green. It's real easy. I keep my rag to wipe things right here, my Gamsol, and everything's good to go. I'm doing a little negative painting into the flowers. So where these flowers are, they kind of branch into, how would I say it? Like they're like little, we're just gonna suggest them. We're not gonna paint each one in because then it won't look real. But, you know, they're like, as soon as you start to do this, you get that feeling of space in here for them. And you get that firework feeling. I also have lovage and Angelica in here. And lovage seeds are used for incense and all kinds of other fun stuff. So now this inside of this one's darker. It's got some darker. It must have went to seed, or I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm gonna paint what I see. So okay, so what I've done is I've established a darker background and I've started to develop the flowers. And the next thing that we need to do is get out some sap green and mix the leaves. See how they're a little cooler in color? We're gonna have to mix a yellow for the flowers and go forward. So one cool thing I wanted to show you is with oil paint, you can use the turp and a rag. And I wanted to put this flower right there in front here. So you can just erase whatever you've got on here. You can't do this with watercolor. You can't really do this with acrylic. But with oil you can. And you can just erase it. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of the underpainting there, but it wipes off pretty easy. And then you can put a flower there. And they're kind of round, so we want a ball like that. We have some fresh sap green. We're gonna mix a little cobalt and white because we want cooler. So we're gonna mix these and we're gonna get a cooler green because of the blue. Makes it cooler. Yellow would warm it, cooler with the blue. Also the white. This might be too cool. Let's see. So if we were to suggest a leaf here, yeah, I think we need a little more color. Add a little more blue. You got to pay attention to the shape of the leaves when you paint a plant. How do they grow? What do they look like? Otherwise it won't look real. They're not all the same. My dog's crying. He wants to go on a walk. So see how there's a much cooler feel to these leaves. I might have made them a bit too cool, but you can always warm them up, add a little yellow, and things in nature are random. You got to pay attention to how they grow. So on here, we've got a leaf. And everything will overlap each other. And we'll just keep looking at it and trying to figure out. Okay, these came from here. And there's another one that comes from, is it here? From a distance, we're starting to get a little more three-dimensionality, starting to feel a little more like what we want. We got some dark spots in these leaves, so I mixed a slightly darker version in here. Okay. Make it a little lighter. That's easy to do. I'm just adding maples now. You can use white, you can use whatever you want. This one's real light. It's coming forward in the sun, so it'll be really light. Notice I'm constantly turning my hand. Okay, now you can kind of have a different view of the painting. And you do want to let a few things just kind of go off the painting and let the viewer's mind make some things up. You know, you don't want to spell everything out. Sometimes that's how plein air paintings get ruined, is they're overworked. There's too much being told, not enough for the creative mind to make up. So back here, going to be a couple more. These leaves. Going to add a little Naples to kind of lighten up some of them. And the way they come off of here is just unbelievable. Look at them, and where the light is, that's where you want to have lighter. And then we're going to just do a few little, you know, there, it's starting to get there. Now we really have to just refine the flowers. All right, so now we just kind of have to squint and define the flowers. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to knock hard edges off here where I had some hard edges. Just kind of knock them off and let them blur in. You don't need them. You don't need hard anything in this painting. So if I see a hard edge somewhere, I'm probably going to knock it off. Okay. Now it's time for the fun part. Here we go. The flowers, we're going to mix a little cad yellow light and white. It's a beautiful highlight color. If you're not good at mixing, just practice mixing all the time until you get there. But then you hold this up to the plant, it's pretty close. See that? Can you see how close this color is? So let's try it. All right, squint. And let's see. Now, if you're feeling like they're not green enough, you can enter a little green in there too. You can vary the color because some of them are more highlight. They have better highlights from the sun. Some are even almost white in that background there. Use your fingers, just have fun. The whole point of painting is to connect to nature and have a very wonderful experience and enjoy yourself. It doesn't matter how somebody else paints. It doesn't matter about all these rules they want you to follow, and none of that matters. Have fun. And you win. You win every time. This is a little more yellow. You know, I'm going to try something new on this guy in the middle. I'm going to just suggest it, right? Like this. And then I'm going to negative paint it in later. Now you have to be very careful with these plants because they resemble poison hemlock. Poison hemlock, or water hemlock, that's what killed, I think it was Shakespeare? Anyway, very toxic. And it looks a lot like this. So if you're out and you don't know exactly what you see, by all means you can paint it, but don't touch it if you don't know what it is. I know this is Angelica because I planted it here about 15 years ago, and it comes back. It's happy here. So I know what this is. But not everybody does. All right. I'm going to take a dry brush, actually a little dry brush, and I'm going to knock off these hard edges. Notice I'm constantly readjusting the hard edges. These are such big, beautiful, showy flowers, right? I'm going to knock off the edge on this one. And then it's just a game, a working game of working in the colors. Like, I'm not really excited about all this white. And I think I'm going to introduce the palette knife very shortly. But first I want to work these flowers just a little more. hate to use this cliche, but it's really just paint what you see. Coolest thing I have here is Robbo Doberman. Hey Rob, you painting with me? And he'll just stand here and paint with me. I mean, I'll paint. And he'll just stand here, right? Hey, my buddy. Oh, you good boy. So I'm just gonna dab in. See how I'm doing this? Very, very lightly. Just looking up there and mosquito just bit my foot. Ouch. And just dabbing in. Squint, what do you see? Put it in. Squint, what do you see? Put it in. Squint. No. What do you see? See all these lovely little balls. Detailed highlights on a couple of them. You don't have to do all of them because your mind will make it up if there's just a couple. Mind will make up the rest. See how I'm kind of in and out of, I work it a little bit and then I blend it in and then I work it a little bit. Because there's no certainties when you're painting. There's no guarantees. I mean, obviously, someone who paints the same thing all the time is going to be better at it than someone who doesn't. But I paint everything. I recommend you do too. That's how you'll learn. That's how you'll get better. Don't be afraid to try. Paint everything. Let things overlap. The garden is a constant inspiration for painters. It's just a beautiful, nature is the most beautiful muse. And oh, look what we have here. It's starting to come along a little bit. I'm going to go in and use a little turp and wipe a few spots just to make this a little more interesting and show you a couple more tricks you can do with oil. So if you want a little light in here, let's say we want to put a little sky in here. There's a little bit of sky holes back there, just a little. But if we wanted to, oops, don't drop your rag on your palette. If you wanted to, you can always add sky holes this way. So hit it with the turp, wipe it off. See how clear it is all of a sudden? I'm not sure where I want to put these, so I don't want to overdo it, but I just wanted to show you a few Maybe we'll put a sky hole here. It's a little hint of blue. In order to introduce some sky holes, you can put a little blue on your brush. The secret is if it touches the green, you definitely need to wipe your brush off. But this will give the idea, the impression, the suggestion that, you know, you have a sky back there too. And if it's too much, you can always get rid of it. But I do see, you know, some sky in here, so put a little bit in. Okay, we are getting there. Now what I want to do is just do a few final touches. Highlight the flowers with white. I'm just going to do a few because I'm just suggesting. These are here. So we just want to do a few. Our mind will make up the rest. Your mind is a powerful instrument, and the viewer quite often will make things up. Better than the artist. Just like sometimes you read a book and you see the movie and you're disappointed. Same thing. So now we're really getting into the nooks and crannies of, you know, polishing off here where differentiating between and really knocking this out. We want it to look real. So for it to look real, you just gotta study it. You gotta have some pure darks in here. Now we're starting to get it. So here we have a Angelica painting. It's only missing one thing. We got a lot going on in here. Got a lot going on in here with this Angelica. Uh-oh. I just broke one. Ooh, you're gonna have to cut it and use it. Maybe we'll make some candied Angelica. Stay tuned to the next video where we might make some candied Angelica. I just want to say thank you to all my Patreon followers and subscribers for tuning in. And I'm glad that this free content's helping those of you out there with painting. Come out and paint with us. Last Saturday in Kensington with the group, I did this tree and this painting of my friend Sandy Ackerman painting. And it's always an adventure. You never know. Sometimes paintings turn out great. Sometimes you don't want to give them to your aunt for Christmas. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. A lot of my paintings are for sale on Etsy, Studio Tamera. See you next time.